Hello again YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. And I have a new project to undertake. It's just turned up literally this morning. Let's take a look at what I have to play with, and maybe you can give me some comments. What we have here is a 2005 Royal Enfield Bullet 500cc with 11,000 miles on the clock. So this is my next project. I haven't started it. I bought it blind. It's just been shipped about 350 miles to my house, and this is what we're going to play with next. I think it's going to lose the granddad look, and the screen's going to go in the rear rack definitely, but I'm not quite sure what else yet. So one of the things that I want to do to this is chop this back a bit. So the way we get the shape, if you want to keep the shape at the front, is you use a piece of cardboard as a template under here. Cut this out. So we cut this shape out, and then we can put it on the front, and we can get an approximate shape before we get the saw on there and cut that. Okay, let's do it. If my compressor kicks in, it's going to be noisy because we're right next to it, but I apologise for that, but I've got to do it. Just gone over the edge with some black for now. The actual fender itself is not in good shape, and I'll probably end up painting the whole lot, but this is just whilst I'm working on it, just to stop that rusting. And I can deal with, as you can see, it's pretty scratched up, so I'll have the whole thing off, rub it down at some point and paint it. But that has totally changed the look of the bike. You can't really tell from here, but I'll give you a shot of the bike when it's outside a bit later. Hey YouTube, another day, and back in the garage doing some bits and pieces on the old Enfield 500. Today we're going to lose this back end. I'm not going to video the cutting. You saw me cut the front. Principle's the same. I'll cardboard stencil this to get the shape that I want. I may not have this shape because I'm going to look at it later. Get this off, and then I'm going to decide roughly how high I want it cut off, and then I'm going to tape it up and get the saw out and cut it off. So I'll bring you back when that's done. I thought I should show you exactly how much I'm cutting off the bottom here, so you know, so you get a feel if you want to do this yourself what I'm doing. I'm actually taking it just under where the electrical wires come out, because my light fitting that I've got will cover this, and the number plate is going to stick down here somewhere anyway. So there's obviously some damage caused by the previous light fitting. The previous owner broke it at some point, and it's been rattling away on the back there and caused some damage. I'll have to address that later, but not this minute. But this is how much I'm taking off the bottom here. I guess that's 8 inches or so. Again, apologies for the compressor if it kicks in. So let's take a moment to take a quick look at where we're up to with the Enfield. We've done the chop on the front fender, so that's what it's looking like. We have taken the screen off, taken the seat off, taken the backrest off. We have done the chop on the rear fender. I have fitted the light, but I haven't done the wiring yet. Like I said, I'm not currently worrying about painting the bike at the moment. That's another job once we get it all sorted out. But currently, this is how she's looking, and I'd like to think, with the 2 fender chops, straight away it's looking nicer, and the screen off. So I need to get the wiring sorted out. I'm waiting on some new indicators because obviously the rear indicators were fitted to the light cluster, so I'm going to have to fit new rear indicators. I'm not sure where I'm going to put those yet, and I think I'm going to take these large ones off the front, and because there's a hole been drilled in here for the screen, I think I'm going to relocate some smaller indicators there. So that's where we're up to. Hey YouTube, welcome back to another day working on the Enfield again. I've got to give you my apologies as viewers. I have done some work on the bike and I didn't video it. My apologies for that. I'll quickly go over what I've done so you can see. I have had some good news today. My seats turned up from India, so I can start looking at that shortly. But let's just take a quick look at a couple of things that you haven't seen so far. My new LED indicators are on, fitted to the lighting housing as I said I was going to do, and I haven't taken the brackets off from the old indicators yet, but they may come off, or I may use them for a spotlight bracket. The other thing that I have done whilst I was off camera is I've changed the handlebars. It originally had pretty flat handlebars that followed this line out. The look I'm going for, I thought I'd go for something a little bit higher. So I've got these handlebars. I'm waiting on some new grips. They haven't turned up yet, but those bars are on. Let's take a look at the bike from this side. I'm a bit short on space here, so I'm sorry about everything around in the background. But that's the handlebars from the front. I think it's a nicer look. And this one I'm not too sure about. I've been playing with this over the weekend with bits and pieces that I've got in the garage. The exhaust pipe. Instead of having the exhaust pipe running straight, I've kinked it up at an angle and I've got it kicking up out the back there. This is a budget build. Obviously I paid for the bike originally, but I am limiting my spend to £250, and everything I buy on this bike I'm buying from eBay. Other than that, if I've got bits laying around in the garage, I'm using those. So I happen to have that exhaust pipe bend from a previous project, and it fits this one, so I thought I'd stick it on and see how it looks. I did not buy that. I believe I can get a chrome one, but that is not chromed, that section there, which is a bit annoying. So I'm thinking about, if I'm going to keep this exhaust pipe like this, I might wrap that bottom section of pipe. I put the stickers on. I quite like those. I'm still waiting for the tank decals to come in. but these ones are Royal Enfield ones. Some people like them, my wife hates them, I like them. Anyway, like I just said, the seats turned up today. I'm going to start looking at that. I'm going to have to fabricate some sort of fittings for that, so that's my next job. I'm going to have to make some sort of cover for this area when I decide how I'm going to fit my seat. The seat is a solo seat and it's come with springs, but the springs are for this bike and the fitting kit is for this bike, but in my opinion it makes the seat sit too high. So I'm going to have to make up something in here. This actually is a piece that I made up for a Harley Davidson Sportster, but just to give you a feel, so I will make a cover in here, but before I make that cover I've got to decide where my seat fittings are going and how I'm going to make those. So that's what I'm going to start looking at now. Let's have a look at where I got up to yesterday when I started working on this seat. I can show you exactly what I've done. As I've said, I've got to make a cover for this, but until I have the seat fitted I can't do that. So yesterday I made this bracket up. Like I said, I didn't want to fit the seat with the fittings that came with the seat. It had a rather high fitting that went here. It brought the seat up about 6 inches from the frame, and technically these springs are supposed to be mounted here, which means the springs would be sat up here and the seat would be quite forward. I wanted the seat to be a bit lower and a bit further backwards. So I started yesterday and made this frame. Straight away this is pushing the seat backwards, but it's allowing me to fit the seat lower. If you look where the spring's mounted here, it's a good 2 inches lower than where it should be up here. I know the camera's at a slight angle. So this bar here basically is what I'm going to fit the seat onto. It's going to take most of the weight across the frame at the back here. The springs really aren't doing anything, they're just more or less there for aesthetic reasons, to make it look good. Obviously the bike's not a rigid frame bike, it has a suspension, so I don't really need the sprung seat. So by the time I've fitted this in here and bolted it down to the fittings, it's only giving me maybe, I don't know, ½ an inch of play in there. This I've designed to kind of hug the frame rails here, because I find sometimes with these high springs you get a lot of lateral movement from side to side with sprung seats. This is stopping the seat from going side to side. So that's what I did yesterday. Today I'm looking at doing the cover. Obviously I've made this now, I know where all my fittings are, so I can go ahead and create some sort of cover for in here. So that's what I'm doing today. Okay, not turned out too bad at all. I've just got to figure out how that's going to stay down and look at the seat going on top. But please bear in mind, I don't have metal benders and I don't have all fancy tools. I have a basic air compressor and some snippers, and the rest is done with a vise and a rubber mallet. So I don't expect this to be perfect, and most of it is going to be covered up by the seat anyway. So I'm just going to finish off getting this how I want it, figure out how it's going to be held down to stop it moving around. I've got a feeling the seat will actually stop it moving around. I might actually fit it to the bottom of the bracket that's going over it. Haven't looked at that yet, but that's going to be going on here. No, that's above it. So I need to figure out how I'm going to stop that moving around. The obvious place is a couple of screws up here into the bodywork, and I'm going to spray that up and see what that looks like. So we've moved into the garage out of the sun. I'll move the Jeep out just to give us a bit of space. Backdrop isn't any better, I'm afraid, but let's see if we can get this together now. So we are going with that. And hopefully I have So your camera battery always runs flat just when you're trying to do something. So I cracked on without you guys. I got the seat on. I fitted the new grips. Everything's done. The only thing I have left to do is wrap that exhaust pipe down here at that bend, and get some decals for the tank. I just thought I'd give you a side profile there so you can see roughly how I've done the seat. I think it looks good. It's slightly further back than it would be with the fittings by about 2 inches. I'm 5'10". It feels slightly more comfortable. I like the lower seat rather than the higher seat, and good as gold, solid as a rock, not going anywhere. I love it.